Right now, 48 different countries are playing in one World Cup. That's the most in history. And if that sounds normal to you, it isn't. For nearly 30 years, that number never moved. It was locked at 32. Then, FIFA tore up the rulebook and slammed in 16 extra teams all at once. But here's what almost nobody explains. This wasn't really about the football. There's a quieter reason hiding underneath. And it changes who gets to play, who walks away with billions, and even how your summer is about to look. Stick around, because in the next few minutes you'll understand this tournament better than half the people watching it in bars. Quick reset for anyone new. The World Cup is the biggest sporting event on the planet. Bigger than the Super Bowl, bigger than the Olympics by audience. It happens once every 4 years, and instead of clubs or cities, entire countries go head-to-head. Win it, and you're basically a national hero for life. So why mess with something that already worked? Let's talk money, because that's where the trail starts. More teams means more games. The old World Cup had 64 matches. This one? 104. That's 40 extra games of football, and every single match is a product. TV rights, ads, sponsors, tickets, stuff sold all over the world. FIFA, the organization that runs all this, is reportedly expecting around $9 billion from this one tournament. $9 billion. Here's a comparison that'll stick with you. That's more than the entire yearly budget of some small countries, earned in about a month of soccer. So, yeah, follow the money, and a lot of this starts to make sense. But hold on. If it were only about cash, FIFA would just say that. They didn't. They sold this as something bigger. And weirdly, they kind of have a point. For decades, the World Cup had a hidden bias. The spots to qualify, meaning to earn your place in the tournament, were stacked heavily toward Europe and South America. If you were a rising team from Africa or Asia or a tiny island in the Pacific, the door was barely open. Think of it like a party with 32 seats, where most of the invites went to the same neighborhoods every single time. Expansion blew that open. Africa went from 5 spots to 9. Asia jumped from 4.5 to 8. And here's the wild one. Oceania, the region with countries like New Zealand and Fiji, never once had a guaranteed place. Not ever. Now they do. That's not a small tweak. For some nations, this is the first time in their entire history they'll walk out at a World Cup. Iraq. Cape Verde, an island country with fewer people than a mid-sized city. Imagine being a kid there right now. So is FIFA the hero or the businessman? Honestly, both. And that tension is the whole story. Now let's get to the part that actually changes how you'll watch. The format. Stay with me, because this is simpler than it sounds. The teams get split into 12 groups of 4. A group stage just means each team plays the other 3 in its little group first, like mini-leagues before the real drama begins. Old system. Only the top 16 teams survived this stage. New system. 32 teams move on. That's an entire extra round of knockout games. Lose, and you're gone. That has never existed in World Cup history before. But here's my favorite hidden detail. Watch this. In the new format, even finishing third in your group can be enough to keep going. The 8 best third-place teams sneak through. Sounds minor, right? It's not. It quietly fixes one of the most boring problems in the old World Cup, the dead game. Let me explain. In the past, teams sometimes reached their final group match already knowing they were eliminated, so they basically stopped trying. Snooze fest. Now, that third-place lifeline means almost every team is still fighting until the final whistle. More meaning, fewer throwaway matches. Smart. Genuinely smart. But, there's always a but, not everyone's celebrating. Critics argue more teams means weaker teams. That a few newcomers will get crushed, 8 or 9 to nothing, and water down the quality. And here's a fact that surprises people. FIFA's very first plan wasn't even 12 groups of 4. It was 16 groups of 3 teams. They scrapped it. Why? Because with 3 teams, the last 2 playing could secretly arrange a result that knocked the other guy out. Basically, cheating by mutual agreement. FIFA saw that landmine coming and backed away fast. There's one more cost nobody puts on the poster. The players. The 2 teams that reach the final will now play 8 matches instead of 7, packed into about 39 days. More games, more travel, more exhaustion. And their club seasons start again barely a month later. Some experts are openly worried about injuries piling up. So let's zoom all the way out. What does this giant experiment actually mean for you? It means more games than you could ever watch. It means underdog countries you've never heard of, suddenly on the world stage, playing like their lives depend on it. It means more chaos, more shock results, and more of those impossible to look away moments that make this the most watched thing on Earth. It also means that quietly, FIFA reshaped its biggest event to be more global and more profitable at the same time. Both things are true. That's not a contradiction. That's the strategy. So next time someone says, it's just more teams, who cares? Now you know better. You know it's about money and access and a brand new round of knockout drama. And a clever little rule that keeps every match alive. 48 teams, 104 games, one summer. And you're walking in already understanding the part most people will never figure out. If this made the World Cup finally click for you, do me a favor and subscribe, because the matches are coming fast and the surprises are going to be even bigger than you think.